Welcome back to Modified Fate. We're here with another panel to play episode. I've got Wheelman and Blackcraft with me.
Hello?
Hello.
So we just got, well, not just, it's been a couple weeks, but we got details on Abomination. Here's his card. He is a 5 threat, 4 physical defense, 3 energy and mystic with 7 health, and he's size 4. Medium mover on a 65 mil base. So he's got a physical strike, range 2, power strength 7, and it's a gainer with a wild poison and a wild hit push short. And he's got a range 3 physical attack with 5 strength that is also a gainer. Then his spender is range 3, strength 8, costing 4. After the attack is resolved, if damage is dealt, target gains poison. After the attack is resolved, place this character within one of the target character with a wild size 4 throw small if it dealt before damage. And then he's got a size 4 terrain throw that is throw long, costing 3. Then a neat little superpower radiation zone, costing 3. Each enemy character within 2 with the poison special condition suffers 2. Then each enemy character within 2 gains the poison special condition. Each character that gained the poison special condition in this way loses 1 power. Used once per turn. And then he's got damage reduction to a minimum 1. And he also gains an extra power when he takes damage. And an extra power during the power phase. And he's immune to poison. And it's the same on the back, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's any changes.
Yeah, he's a damage reduction Hulk. Pretty sick.
Yeah, I think the poison stuff could be interesting with like Omega Red. Some people were asking why he wasn't in Winter Guard. I don't know much about the character, but I don't know if is there precedent for that or if they just wanted him in the faction. I don't know, but
I don't know any Winter Guard lore, so can't help you.
Is he Russian? I can't remember. That's the only reason. I would think. I
thought he was like a U.S. airman or something.
Yeah, it was a U.S.
in the
military
movie.
guy in the movie.
He's but I think he is Russian in the comics. I mean, I like him mostly because he's another like kaiju brick style, but this time he's trying to do different stuff with all the poison effects.
Yeah.
And that's really the most interesting part probably about him is that he's not just a brick where he's throwing terrain and people. He's trying to stack poisons.
Yeah. They said
which obviously has synergies.
In the blurb here, it says that the sculpt's meant to go with Immortal Hulk, which is pretty cool. Which they have posted here.
Oh, like a square up kind of thing?
Yeah. Like a panel that's not really a panel.
Mm. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about him. I don't know what I would even use him for other than just having him.
I think it's
Hydra. I think throwing him with like Strucker.
Strucker, he's very good with Strucker. It says somewhere in here what affiliations he is. I don't remember. Right
now. Hydra, right?
Hydra and Criminal.
Crimson, yeah, that's it.
Criminal Syndicate.
Okay, so he belongs to both of them pretty well.
Crimson, yeah, because he has the combo with MODOK too. He has the combo card. And then Hydra, I think he also just happens to synergize well.
Well, Hydra is Strucker, so yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think both teams could use Criminal Syndicate, maybe a little less, but Hydra definitely could use their own personal brick.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's got a couple tactics cards. First is Gamma Burst. During his activation, he can spend 3, push enemy characters with poison within 2 of him away medium, and then they take 1 damage. So he's just, if he gets the power, he has a bunch of gainers instead of builders, but once he gets beefed up, he can do quite a bit of AoE effects.
Which his damage reduction gives him a power, even if he gets damaged to a minimum 1. So that's different from a lot of other.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rhino's thing.
Just in one ability, not 2 different ones.
And then MODOK has a card for him during MODOK's activation. If he is within 2 of an allied abomination, he can spend 5 to throw the abomination medium. I don't know if that's really worth 5 power, but he is a size 4, so it would be 5 damage.
Yeah, it's
weird. It's only worth it if they don't have their brace.
Right, yeah. Brace should eat up 2 restricted slots.
It's a funny card, but yeah, I don't see it like you have to bring 2 specific characters, right?
Yeah, it is at least 9 points, 9 threat of characters.
Oh.
Because the
MODOK it's not
2
an
is
ideal
only 4.
start to your build.
Yeah.
It's funny. I don't know if it's effective.
Yep, those are his 2 cards. Here's where it says Crimson, and somewhere it says Hydra, I'm sure. Hyde Council. Okay. He comes in the same box as the Wrecking Crew. Which, if you're here, Drogon, you will be painting these guys because I'm not doing it.
It's basically 4 normal sized guys on a base.
Yeah.
Like not even small, like
yeah, it's on a
high, like agents
base.
or whatever. Yeah.
One of you can take her away.
I don't have the panel pulled up if you got it, Joel.
I got it here. So the Wrecking Crew, they're a 4/3/4, 6 health, 4 cost. Size 2 and short move, but they are a 65 millimeter base, so they're a large base. So that small move is a lot. You make up more of that movement. They have 3 attacks here. Indestructible, which is a gainer for 3/5, and on just hit, it stuns a character, not a wild. So you're probably always going to get the stun off, which is kind of great. Pile Driver, which is a 2/6/0. If it deals damage to a character size 3 or less, so not say Abomination, push the character away short. And then if you get a wild on it, you suplex them, which should be up our alley because we talk about wrestling too.
I do like the wrestling theme.
Yeah, if they stun, they then are staggered, which is nice. I think and then you could potentially, if they're stunned, staggered, and you push them away, you effectively killed an activation there. Then last, the Wrecking Barfling, which is a beam 4 with 4 power, 4 strength. So when you place down the range tool, it destroys size R2 smaller terrains and gains an attack die for each attack roll. It's a gainer, and then if the target was staggered, you throw them away short. So the super wombo combo is hit all these in a row. How do you do that? We're going to skip down to Let's Take Them Down, Boys, which is 3 power after an attack made by this character during its activation is resolved. It may use this superpower. This character makes an attack action and must choose an attack it has not used yet. This power can only be used once per turn. So you use your 2 actions, and then you Wrecking Bar Fling, probably with Let's Take Them Down to get the wombo combo off. To help you do that, they have Bulldoze. which is push this character medium, which is bigger than their short. It breaks size 2 or smaller terrains as it goes. And then when it hits a character, they take damage and this character stops. So it's kind of like a fling almost for themselves, but it's very similar to what's his name?
Juggernaut.
Juggernaut. Yes, thank you. Couldn't think of it. And lastly, they gain an additional 1 power per phase. So basically, from assuming no other shenanigans, from turn 2 on, they can pretty reliably get that 3 attack combo off. Assuming you don't miss like the wilds and stuff.
Yeah.
That said, before we get into the cards, they're kind of squishy and on a big base. And they are all about that combo, so they don't really
Yeah, they don't do anything else.
they don't do anything else. It's like it's like a magic card that combos with itself and it doesn't do anything else. It's really hard to like they don't interact with objects because they don't exactly throw them. They just destroy them on their way. They don't throw people unless it's through their combo.
Mhm.
They're not really built to run away, so they're not like a web swing or that type of character, or like Rhino who can stampede away really far. Be super. So they're not. I wouldn't say they're super mobile. I'd say they just get shoved down the middle. And then I mean they gain some other effects, but it's all in the service of the combo. So I think your value out of them is going to be how often you actually pull that out.
Yeah. It's heavily reliant on that wild on Pile Driver, which the dice calculator says is 59%. And also the
I'll find a way to break that.
Pile Driver doesn't gain them power like the other two.
Oh, I missed that. You're right. The other two do gain them 1. And the thing is, you want to do them in the order.
Yeah.
Like you can't do Wrecking Bar, Fling, then Pile Driver, then Indestructible, then Pile Driver.
Well, if you got other people that can stun, they can skip the first one.
That's fair.
Potentially. I don't know that you want to run support for these guys like that, though.
Yeah, it might not be the wisest choice.
They're interesting on a big base, I'll say. They have a couple cards. Maybe that will help them out a little bit. So they have Mystic Menace. It's reactive, unaffiliated. During the power phase, an allied, the Wrecking Crew, I hate that way that reads, may spend 1 power to play this card until this character is dazed or until the end of the round. When an enemy character ends a movement within 2 of this character, that character gains the Hex special condition. Okay. Stronger together. During their activation, the Wrecking Crew may spend 3. Choose a character size 4 or less within 4 that was attacked by the Wrecking Crew this activation. If the chosen character was attacked once by the Wrecking Crew this activation, throw it away short. If it was twice, throw it medium. 3 times or more, throw it long. Okay, that card is really good.
A potential long throw is crazy.
Yeah. After you just staggered them and everything, right?
Yeah. You're just putting them
Stuns,
putting them on the shelf,
stagger,
basically.
Throw them once, and then the card throws them again.
I throw you short into a building to destroy it,
Oh, yeah.
and then I throw you long.
Yeah, and I mean, you could spike damage and make them burn their impact or brace, and then screw them with the long throw.
Yeah, and it's range 4 from them, size 4. That card's good. Okay. They have something.
They
Then
got some smoke.
they're just Criminal Syndicate, is that right?
Cabal, supposedly, because villains.
Okay. It does say Cabal on the app. I don't see it here in the text.
The second paragraph.
Oh,
there.
yeah. Malekith. Okay.
They're not. I don't think they're terrible. They're just. They got one thing, man, and they're gonna go for it. They got one thing, and I mean, if it goes off, it goes off. That's pretty good.
Having played a lot of Crystal, it never goes off, man.
It's weird because they're. I think they're relatively fragile. They don't have any defensive tech.
Yeah, they're 4/3/4 for 4. It's pretty average.
And 6 health isn't terrible, but that's just average again for a 4.
Mm-hmm. They're all offense, pretty much. And not even that much offense. They top out at 6 dice.
They 5 moves of doom. That's all they got. That's what they're gonna do.
Yep. Oh, God.
They're the Cena of MCP.
Yeah, that's and nobody will play them. You can't see them.
Where
I
did they go?
The best part about these guys is they come with Abomination.
I'm more excited for A-Bomb just because he has more. Like I said, like we keep going over, A-Bomb has a new stuff to do and different stuff to do, and he's actually pretty like. He's got some
Staying power, yeah.
Yeah. And he's not so one note because he can play defense, he can play tank. These guys are one note.
Yeah.
One combo, super combo. They're gonna get off their super combo.
I do kind of like them for Magneto. Another bulldoze to spread power. Not that they need the power, because they can't do anything with it.
I can't wait for them to attack my blob, and I just push them away.
Exactly.
They can't get their combo off.
Because they're size 2, so they're affected by literally everything.
That's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, not much else to say.
So we've done 2 tournaments since our last podcast. The first one was in October. It's not quite November, but it's on the 12th. There's only 6 people this time. A lot of people canceled. At one point, I think it had 17 registered, right? Something like that.
I gotta get
it was
there.
closer to like
Hang on.
12 sounds more.
12? Okay.
It was near double what we ended up with, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. So it's our 6 basically locals here. Round 1 was, I can't even remember. It was against Tim. He was playing an amalgamation of Hydra, Cabal, Apocalypse. What was the other affiliation Tim had? Apocalypse.
Was it?
I got them all.
Brotherhood?
Never mind.
I was gonna say that sounds about it.
Yeah. So he ended up playing Strucker against my Weapon X. It was a pretty one-sided affair of Maverick shutting down everything he wanted to heal, and then Logan and Sabretooth just killing literally everything. It was paranoia and demons, so everything was incinerated, and my guys were getting extra dice from the dossier, and Domino did her thing where she sits on a point, and that's the most useful thing I've ever done with her. But this is the game where I realized that Maverick is incredible, and I used him the rest of the day. Spoiler alert. But we'll get there. His 3-cost spender that wild throws that's where it's at. Who wants to go next? Are
Let
we
you go,
are we
Joel.
doing the whole of them, all of our
Yeah, we
rounds?
can go round by round.
Round by round. I played Stephanie of what is it? We should probably plug them. Born Miniatures.
Born Miniatures.
If
I
you-
can put a link
On
in the
YouTube,
description. Yeah.
Yeah. They do really good paints. They win every time. Well, they didn't actually win this time. Wheelman won.
Wheelman won the painting contest for this one.
But
Yeah,
their
it was
stuff is
best
really
painted
good.
pair, but it's only because his wasn't eligible.
So she played Doc Ock. She played my boys, the Sinister Syndicate, and I kind of wanted to play them after this tournament. I played Defenders. I played pretty standard Daredevil stuff. It ended on a tie. I'm trying to think. The biggest things that happened this game is she actually played Carnage. And Carnage didn't so much damage people as he just magically absorbed a bunch of attacks. So when she finally moved Carnage in, she would use Venom to lethal protector, and then I would try and use cover me attacks to take it away, to deal more damage to Carnage, and she'd shove it off onto Venom. And then by the time Carnage continued his activation, I had done just enough damage to not daze, but keep him alive. So he would do a spender, and then he would do some more damage, and then he would heal himself to full from, I think it's Paint the Town Red.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I just kept coming up like 1 or 2 damage short every time. So that slowed me down a lot. Eventually, basically, it came down to the last turn, where all I needed to do was make, I think, 1 or 2 damage on a Doc Ock to make him drop. What did we play? The Paranoia token. And that would have put her down another point, but I couldn't. And so the best I could do was pick up another one and tie. With my Daredevil, who was the very last activation of the game, because he couldn't move fast enough, oddly enough, with his long move. So it was a pretty close game. So I guess, like, just beware if you don't actually put down Carnage and he gets to go, he actually can make it back.
Yeah, he gets
Once he gets that free heal off, you've wasted so much. If he ever gets, if he heals for 5 or more, it's a pain. I guess the only other thing I could remember is that I, for the life of me, could not get my Ghost Rider to hex people off of Chains of Damnation, and that's literally all I did. Like, all I needed was, I need you to stop critting on your random Carnage attack, please, and I just could not get the hex off. Because I had a lot of Luke absorbing attacks that game. He got taken out pretty quick.
Gotcha.
Over to me.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't remember much of this first round
Yeah, it's
with
been
Brendan.
a while.
I spoiler alert for the next tournament. I had the same record against the same people. This one was closer against Brendan, I guess. I don't really remember. Like I said, I think, yeah, we had Alien Ship and Infinity Formula. Played 17. I don't remember.
Looks like you had Loki. He had Cable.
Yeah. Was playing X-Force. Yeah, I really don't remember much. I remember it not being like a blowout. But that was the first time I'd played Brendan too, and I'd never played into Cable either, so there was a lot of stuff I was learning on the fly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have much memory there, so it was an early round 1 loss.
Yeah, you can go right into your round 2 then.
Sure. Round 2 played Stephanie. This was a tie game right until the very end, like the last round. And as opposed to like the tie that her and Joel had, I was able to break the tie in the end. I remember wiping quite a bit of her table. I killed Carnage before he could do Paint the Town Red. This one I did more killy Asgard things. 18 I probably played. Oh, this one I played Blade. That's right. She was using Carnage turned on a lot of the bleed stuff for Blade, which only helped me.
Yeah.
I remember having a really gnarly Night of the Dampier into Doc Ock and basically killed him from healthy. Well, killed him after he had dazed from near healthy. But yeah, so I played what would I have played at 14? Because I know I had Blade. It doesn't matter. This one, like I said, it was tight until the very end, but I think it was probably like, I want to say it was like 12-12 going into the final round.
Damn.
That sounds about right. But it was very close. Yeah, not much to note there either.
And we'll snake draft it back to Black Cross round 2.
Yeah, I played Tim. He played Apocalypse versus me this game. He played Sinister, Wolverine, Apocalypse, Toad, and Nightcrawler, oddly enough, which I think was unfortunate towards the end, as I'll explain. So the biggest thing is early in this game, he kind of pushed his Toad too far up. And after the rest of the teams have activated, I basically, on that very first round, Hell on Wheels Ghost Rider up to his Toad and managed to daze him in 1 round on the very first round, which hurt him a lot because then he fell behind on the scroll. Then the rest of the couple rounds were a bit of a slog. I remember I played Hulk, and he had Hulk rooted pretty consistently. Even after I would Wong cleanse him, it didn't take him much to go and reroute my Hulk. But Hulk tanked a bunch of damage. And then so it was a bit of a slog. That's why we didn't get the 16 score. But I started pulling ahead because I had that early scroll victory that I stole. And then a couple Hulk pushes kept things away from the Mayor Fisk's, the witnesses. And then at the end, unfortunately, what was sort of his undoing was the Nightcrawler came in and was ready to Brimstone, and he failed to get the triggers on Brimstone, and he couldn't re-roll because he is not a horseman, so he couldn't take advantage of the horseman thing. And he didn't have any other effects that could have like a recal or anything at that point that he could have done with his Nightcrawler. So his Nightcrawler actually kind of stopped dead when he could have gone really far in the center of the board. So unfortunately, his Nightcrawler became a dud. And basically, at that point, I was running away with points because he had nobody in the center, and I had most, if not all, the scrolls.
Nice.
Yeah. So unfortunately, pretty brutal for Tim. And I will say this for the next tournament, I took some of those lessons into my Apocalypse team.
Nice. So I got Brendan round 2. It was a very brutal game. uh, First of all, the pre-marked map that has the newspapers with the letters where the things go. I hate that map because we apparently marked the secures wrong. It didn't matter, but it was very obvious that Brendan didn't have much Weapon X experience. So I had Logan. He put the dossier on Cyclops, and Logan was deployed on the same side as him. So Cyclops shot Logan on round 2, which dealt no damage because I memory tokened. So Logan walked to Cyclops, and then Brendan realized what was going to happen. So Logan got the dossier pretty easily. They were fighting on top of a Quinjet. And then I think that's the same round that my Sinister sprayed 2 people to get to 6 what are they, sample tokens. So then round 3 I brought in the character Weapon X. And then he charged in and dazed somebody. I don't remember who. And then Logan with the dossier all by himself. So he had the rerolls, beamed 4 people with a 9 dice tornado claw. It was as nasty as it sounds.
Jesus.
I think I dazed 4 people with that attack.
The meat tornado.
Yeah, meat tornado. And then, yeah, it was pretty much over from there. Had most of the cubes on Sabretooth. He didn't do much that game except hold cubes and a point.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Maverick kept throwing his Wolverine off of points, which is hilarious. At one point, there was the Wolverine, Logan the Wolverine, and Weapon X on the table. And Mr. Sinister is incredible in Weapon X. I will definitely do that again. He is amazing. Bring some mystic attacks for him. Can bring somebody off the bench. It's pretty cool. So then I got paired against Blackcraft last round. And I was a less than enjoyable opponent, I would say.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
I said I was.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
No.
Yeah, I was nice, of course.
Remember Terry tell me
I was nothing but a perfect.
he was just nervous.
Yeah. So I made X23 my leader this time. Just because I hadn't done it before, and for whatever reason, I can't get Honey Badger and X23 to do much for me. It was a brutal game. Fighting in the middle over senators, I think. No, there's no senators. I thought it
what
was
was
senators.
Yeah, this isn't correct. I don't think it wasn't Mutant Yeah, it is Senators. Mutants Extremis is Senators.
Oh, okay. So there was a pile up in the middle with everybody. Do you remember anything significant that
let's see. You made Ghost Rider the dossier holder.
You choose that, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I made him, and I basically just hell on wheels away whenever Logan got close.
Yeah.
So it'd be like chains of damnation, run away. It was pretty brutal. Almost everybody was dead towards the end of it. Because let's see, I only had Daredevil, Ghost Rider, and I think Luke Cage died on the very last round. And then let's see, other significant moments. As it turns out, if you just move Daredevil and use his spender, that's enough, usually.
Yeah, he got what, 4 people in the AoE?
Yeah. And you that's always something that this day more or less taught me is that I usually try to want to get 2 attacks off with somebody. But if Daredevil does that long move into a crowd of people, that's just as good.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to stress getting the 2 attack turn. Having an AoE like that is pretty good.
Yeah, the game came down to I was up in points and was going to go to exactly 16, like it ended up being. But your chance at making it one more turn and having a better chance, the only thing you could really do was daze. It was either
Sabretooth.
daze or kill Sabretooth. I don't remember because he was.
Yeah, I think he was holding a dude.
Yeah, and he only had 4 or 5 hit points left.
And that would have put me to 15 because I would have picked it up after the attacks.
Yeah, we would have been tied at 15. Yep.
So it was, and that was literally the only move. It was the last activation. That was the move. I guess the only thing is I probably should have brought Shang.
Yeah, Shane's
because
really good.
blanks on defenses is good versus a bunch of melee attackers, as it turns out.
Yeah, melee attackers with Pierce.
Yeah. I mean, but I brought everybody else that was relevant, like Daredevil, Luke Cage, and then I remember I spiked your Deadpool like on the second turn out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then he dazed 3 people the next round because he dance partied twice.
Yeah,
something like that.
which is what pissed. I think that's what. Yeah, that's what it was. So it was a pretty back and forth game in combat, and then it came down to literally specific moves. So
And I forgot I had Deadpool on my list. So it was Deadpool, X-23, Maverick, 9,
it was a
Sabretooth, Logan, and Honey Badger then?
6 wide.
Yeah.
Yeah, Honey Badger did nothing.
Yeah, typical.
I remember just KOing her in a random shot, and like I said, it was a brutal game. Except for Ghost Rider, who was an appropriate coward.
Yeah, I dazed him on the final turn that we were scoring. Which took a portal away from you and made me score that portal. So it was a big difference. So Wheelman, you're round 3.
Yeah, so my round 3 was against Tim. 14-9 was the final score. I feel like it was fairly even until the end, and I think I had a pretty blowout last round, maybe. Not a lot. I still don't remember a lot about this one, but it was just a pretty standard game. I don't remember any like OMG moments or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Tim is the best sportsman I've ever played against, so
Oh yeah,
and I know he just subscribed to the channel. So if he if he ever sees this, really appreciate that, because it's easy to get tilted when dice are not doing what you need them to do, or even like pray to whatever god that you need them to do. So to just be able to shrug that off is an admirable thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that in the next tournament, because we had another game that was not like this one.
Yep. So I ended first, Jared got third, and Joel ended 4th out of 6, which is a tiny tournament, but it was fun. At round,
I got $10
round table, we still
we each got $10 cred, one for painting, and you got for winning.
Yep.
That was cool.
So that's at Round Table Games in Fort Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Shout them out real quick. And then you guys made it to another tournament at a small convention here in town. Who would like to do this?
Yeah. It was a very last minute thing.
Yeah.
They basically wanted to have MCP. They wanted secondary events on the second day. And basically the guy who was supposed to run it bowed out. I guess, or something.
That's what
And
Brendan said. Yeah, from Michigan, I believe.
yeah, and
Sort of left him hanging.
so Brendan took it up at the last second and asked us to come. And like I said, we only had like 2 weeks notice, so we're like, sure, yeah. We tried to help as best we could. Um, so it was only a small 5-person tournament, but considering it wasn't too bad. We'll go with, I guess, my round one. I played Apocalypse this game, or this tournament. And my first round is Tim. Poor Tim. He's getting all of us. We played an Apocalypse mirror match. The only difference was we each played Apocalypse, Wolverine, Deadpool, Toad, and then he played Beast and I played Blob. And we played Hammers and Fisk. The biggest thing is we were pretty tied for the first 3 rounds. 2 rounds, and then on the third round, I managed to daze one of his hammer holders. Not Apocalypse, because each of our Apocalypses picked up their hammer on the first turn and then just kept it. And then managed to daze or push people off with Blob, who was probably my MVP of the day. Like, my stock in Blob is growing. Man, he's really good at displacement lately. I think it was his Toad. I eventually managed to daze and steal the hammer off of. So basically, I would have 3 hammers and then at one, if not both, of the witnesses for the rest of the game. I don't think there were any big moves. It was a lot of us trading conditions. I do know that this was the match that convinced me War Wolverine pops off. Because if you get Wolverine and then activate his Fury ability, his spike is insane. Like, I was dealing 8 damage and attack almost, it felt like, or 8 successes each attack. So I eventually got rid of his Wolverine using my own Wolverine. Eventually got rid of his Toad and his Beast really easily. I think it was on his Beast I first spiked my Wolverine. I was like, oh, this is actually really effective. This is more effective than it sounds like. Not much else to say. I mean, as it turns out, Deadpool with a hammer is really good with bang attacks. Just that one extra dice makes it hit so much more often to get the 2 shots. But that was about it. Nothing else like really fancy or special happened. It was kind of a slugfest.
Real quick,
S-
the
fine.
wrecking crew really like a hammer since they're attacking 3 times.
So we'll go into my round one. Played Stephanie again. And this, so I was texting while we were talking about it, but I had 3 drastically different games and 3 drastically different experiences on Sunday. So the first game was, it was back and forth, not much to say. Well, I was up. I think it only went 3 rounds, 4 rounds. I don't remember how many rounds it went, but it came down to her cable with 3 wounds remaining and my Beta Ray Bill as the only models on the table, both fighting over the same point. I had priority and I had to make a decision whether to attempt to run away and avoid the table, even though, Bill's pretty survivable, but if you can eliminate dice rolls in this game, we all know that's the way to go. So that it was either stand and fight or try to run and hope for the best, because Cable doesn't have the best movement. I mean, he can get around, but he's I had the option of at least making him do a full move to push it to 1 attack. But I decided to stand and fight because I didn't want to lose a game that I was ahead 8-1 by running away and dying. I figured I'd rather give it a good go. And I was able to push the 3 wounds through on 2 attacks and a throw trigger. She didn't have brace for impact at all in her list, so I think I did 2 wounds more than I needed, but we got it done there. And it was like I was really having a hard time making a decision as to what to do. And of course, I would have felt silly either way if it hadn't gone well, but it went well. So that was a good game. It was literally as close as you could have a game end, aside the score aside, because we both had the opportunity to win it right there. So I'll just go to my round 2.
Mm-hmm.
So round 2 played Brendan. This was an absolute curb stomping of gigantic proportions. The score shows 16-8, but it was more like 11-5, and then 16-8. Like it was just my Thor hero Midgard first 3 attacks, so 21 dice we're looking at, did a total of like 2 damage. So that was essentially unrecoverable. I think it was 8-1 after 1, and playing into the most obnoxious Green Goblin Mysterio trap list. Like basically it's like, oh, you want to do that? No, I don't think you will. I managed to kill Green Goblin and Mysterio. Brennan texted me later and said that he had a misplay. Not that it would have even mattered, but yeah, that was an absolute curb stomping. So not much else to say about that. Never had a shot.
Yep. Traps can be hard to deal with if you haven't gone against it before.
Well, it's like I had to. I mean, I had 3 models at 16. I had both Thors and Loki, so my only option was to. And there was he had 4 to 5 spiders all 3 rounds that it lasted. So, it felt like maybe it wasn't quite that bad, but and then the
6 point
the Senators,
6 point
the
model
fist.
doing nothing always feels bad.
Yeah, I mean you just, because if you don't generate power, you can't do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, netting 2 damage over 3 Odin Sun's Ire is statistically nearly impossible, regardless of the other stuff. So it's just like not meant to win that one or be competitive at all.
And then I on round 2 played against Stephanie with her X-Force list. I don't know why I didn't put down my team. I of course played Servants of Apocalypse with Apocalypse. So what happened this game? Basically I played hammers again. I played hammers all 3 matches all day.
Crazy.
So every game was Deadpool on one side picks up a hammer, and at the very least Apocalypse picks up the middle hammer near your start. This one, she ran her Logan up very early straight to the middle, which was easy pickings for Apocalypse. He came in and mental attacked, mystic attacked her Wolverine right away. I also took Wolverine. I took almost the same list I did in the first round. I also played 18 points all day. So hammers and 18 points all day. Same list, except instead of Blob I had Iceman. Mystic attacked her Logan. and almost KO'd him right off the bat, or dazed him right off the bat. And then I let her cable came up and basically did nothing. Even after cat and mouse, she couldn't get enough shots back over to Apocalypse. The dice didn't roll for her. And then on the right side of the board, my Toad and my Iceman were in a stalemate with her Deadpool, and no three of them did any damage until the very end of the game. So the biggest thing was basically, I think it was round 4, 3 or 4. She moved her cable off the center into my right hand side of the board. And then since she moved her cable over there to try and support Deadpool and take out Iceman, Toad, and I think Wolverine had moved over there at that point. She couldn't reach back across the board with telekinetic shield. And so then I took out her Colossus she brought really easily. I took out the Honey Badger she had brought fairly easily. My Death Iceman spiked on her cable the next round, took him out, and I basically just took all the hammers and all the points. And that was game. But I would think the biggest mistake that I noticed she did is she took cable out of the center. And so she lost a lot of her support pieces. And at the same time, her Colossus, she did have like a nice team of like defense effects. So she had Honey Badger and Colossus, and then cable to support, so you could redirect attacks wherever, throw extra dice, but they were never ever in the right place. And so I was able to just pick on people without any of them basically having any effect. This is another game where my Wolverine spiked off of a random Fury attack, and that was on her Wolverine for the KO. It was gross every time it happened. I don't know that there was anything else specific that happened that game. I burned every single tactics card though, because she was trying to take down Apocalypse, and I played Sacrifice, Immortal Servants, Brace for Impact. I think the only card I didn't bring to try and cover my Recalibration Matrix, the only card was Instant Recovery. I used that on my own Wolverine once. So, yeah, unfortunately, her defensive tricks were just out of place, and I was able to capitalize, really.
All right, take us into your last one, champion.
Yeah, into your next Hammer 18 threat match.
Yep, no, yeah, another Hammer 18. I played my same list as I played in the first round, so Blob instead of Iceman, so APOC, Wolverine, Deadpool, Blob, Toad. He played Trap House, Sinister Six. The biggest thing early is he trapped by Brendan. He trapped one of the hammers early, and I just said screw it and threw my Toad into it. Toad survived, and eventually he would daze Toad, but that would give me enough tokens to basically, my Toad was my death. That fueled all the tokens. My Wolverine then turned around, used those tokens for Fury, and in one attack each, dazed Venom and dazed Doc Ock.
Jesus.
Which made him lose 2 hammers, which my Wolverine then picked up and had 2 hammers. Then, basically, he would spend a whole nother turn just trying to take out Wolverine because the fear of God was put into him at that point, and I don't blame him. So basically, uh, Blob and let's see, Apocalypse basically stood in the middle and kept getting points off of the Mayor Fisk's. His Mysterio did nothing that game, unfortunately, because it's a double. If Mysterio double moves short, he can't even make it to a Fisk token on the first round.
Wow.
So there was literally a Fisk token doing nothing in the first round because the only thing I had on that side was Toad, and Toad was just going for the hammer on that side. So all the brawling was on the right hand side of my turn. He had Rhino robberyed at one point. I got it back. Rhino eventually died to mystic attacks from Apocalypse. My Deadpool did nothing that game. He shot a couple times and just rolled blanks, even when he did get a hammer. Actually, I don't know that he actually got a hammer that game, but he rolled nothing that game. And then basically the turns just took a long time. We basically got called on time at like the end of round 3. And that was the final turn. I was just basically able to finally KO his Doc Ock, finally KO his Venom, stand on a point, grab an extra hammer, and break the tie we were basically at for the first couple rounds, and that's what won it for me.
Nice.
It's unfortunate. His Mysterio literally did nothing that game.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So my last game was against Tim. Because I was meant to have the bye, but Stephanie went ahead and dropped so she was in last place, but she also wanted to do some social media stuff for their channel and try to promote the event. So I ended up playing Tim instead. And so I had 3 vastly different games, like I said. So the first one was nearly, I don't know how you could get a closer game, aside from the points, but closest, the worst. And then I completely tabled Tim by the end of round 3. And I only had Maverick on his Days side. Thor, Loki, and Jane were all healthy. It just was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was a mauling. So that one felt really bad, but it just, nothing was working for him. And he didn't do anything wrong per se. It just did not work, whatever the setup was. And he played a Pac into me as well. And it just wasn't getting it done, but yeah, so that was the end of my day. And it was a cool event, even though we only had 5. It was neat to see nearly close to 100 Warhammer players in Fort Wayne.
Damn.
And they had a few vendors there, and Joel and I left with split halves of the Bolt Action 3rd edition starter set, so we're gonna dabble into that a little bit. But they had a couple vendors selling that kind of stuff and a lot of 3D printed stuff. Got a couple cards for like guys that can do 3D printed services. So the event was called Rumble on the Rivers, and I think we're gonna really try to turn it into something next year, if all stays the same. So if anybody hears this and you're in the Midwest or whatever, there's a nice hotel attached right to the convention center. I mean, it's a baby Adepticon, like not even a 16th of Adepticon, but still, like, it could be something in the future. So it's at the Grand Wayne Center in Fort Wayne, and it should be the same time, late October next year.
Yeah, there's a ton of hotels right on the highway, so.
Yep. And I think it's put on by Sentinel Wargaming. They're local to Fort Wayne, so give them a look-see if you're interested in anything GW related or historical. They were trying to run that stuff too, aside from MCP. So plan on that for next year, this same time.
Sounds good. So for those keeping track, we're finishing in the top 3 in the last 3 tournaments.
Against each other.
Jared got second at the Indianapolis one. Then I won the October 12th, and then Joel just won one a couple days ago. We're doing pretty good individually.
Yeah, we're on a roll. It was still pretty cool for us 3 to go down to Indy, and even though all 4 of us didn't have the greatest day, like to walk into their meta and do what we did, it was still pretty cool. So
yeah, definitely. I don't know what our next tournament is. I know I saw one in November. I don't remember where it was though.
Was that the like Lansing, not the same store, but the Lansing one for the like monster
it's
release?
In Michigan,
yeah.
I think I registered for it.
And Joel's trying to organize a game day because Wreath was able to get the monster organized play kits for us to distribute, basically. So we're trying to, and she also said she's gonna have them on Friday. So the monsters and the new stuff. So
heck yeah.
It's at Hoplite Games. It looks like there's only 5 spots left. You're still not in it. Blackcraft.
Oh, you got.
I think I registered when you did.
I don't know that I actually registered. Yeah, I didn't look at it probably. So we'll see. We'll see. Just send it to me.
Yep.
I'm sure we could do it. I'm sure I can do it.
Yep. And I think that'll do it for us.
Yep, I got nothing else.
Yep, I'm good to go.
So keep it positive. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.